Hello and welcome to Raw Talks with Dr. Cami and Dr. Brandy. I'm so excited that you guys are here today. I don't know if you guys have been feeling, but the energy has been heavy. How have you been feeling that?
Well, Minnesota just got a burst of warmth. So it's like 70 today, 74, 75. So we're all like, whoa. I
Yeah, well,
mean,
the sun is
yeah.
great, but the
Yeah.
work around energy is heavy. Because it's been 77 degrees here in Utah. So,
Mhm.
but it's been heavy with decision making and I've had a lot of clients say it's a weird time. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about weird timing. It's like decisions, time to make them. But anyhow, I wanted to tell you I had to redo my whole website. It's up and it's pretty cool. So if you go on there, you're going to see sections for like motivational quotes of the day. You're going to see our Raw Talks links on there. And you're going to see my book links, and I'm adding your book link on there. So if you guys want to buy our books, they're going to be right on there on divineawakeningcenter.com. Um, and there is tons of stuff like the practitioners, there's local podcasts that are more than just our podcasts that are on there. I can talk. And it's fun and interactive. So my Oracle decks are available if you have a membership. The membership is like $3 and you can go in there and pick a Oracle card for the day. And as the Egyptian one is complete, and you'll see me working on building the rest of the pantheon. So I have one. I'm working on the Australian pantheon right now. So I have 11 of the 54 done. So I have a lot of work to do. And there's a gods dictionary on there, so you can kind of look at the gods. But I'm still building it, so be polite and kind and compassionate with my misspelled words, or it doesn't seem like it's complete because I'm building it. So if you, and there's a discussion board where you can go on there with the membership and ask a question. I ask that you keep it reasonable, like one question, and then we, meaning me or any of my practitioners, will answer the question. So it's pretty fun stuff.
That's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
divineawakeningcenter.com website. So been doing a lot of work, like hours and hours of work.
Yep. That's the entrepreneurship. It's like, I don't know, there's something that feels so good about when you like revamp your website. It's like, it's something that's within your control, and it's an avenue to express your creative gifts. And I always felt so good every time I would redo mine. Like, oh, I got a new sales page up.
Yes, yeah, definitely for the entrepreneur, that's for sure. I do want to say you look very lovely today. I like how your hair's
Oh,
braided and your elegant shirt. You look amazing.
thank you. I didn't sleep last night and I
Hey,
didn't wash my hair this morning.
well, I can't even tell. My hair is growing out, so it looks like just like I don't know, fluffy. Not like the 1920s from last time.
Oh, yes.
I still
That's
gotta
just,
do that. I'm still gonna do
you
that.
look good.
So, I am. Anything you want to talk about today? How are you been?
Well, I'm in the process of rereading, well, reading, let's say more thoroughly the Bible for the first time. I grew up Catholic, but probably by junior high, I was kind of over it, and I've gone on my own path. And I'm also reading the Bhagavad Gita and studying the fourth way. And just I'm like a charcuterie board with spiritual
Yeah.
information. And I really love finding like the links and the way that
Yeah.
they talk about stuff. But and then I'm also like diving into I want to learn Aramaic, and I signed up for there like I learn Aramaic because I want to read the Bible in the original language. And I was laughing because the first lesson comes, and the first thing they say is this is the Hebrew alphabet, which we've learned in basic Hebrew. So we're gonna skip this. And I was like, dang, now so now I'm kind of learning. I gotta go back and learn Hebrew. But what I found, there's so much like mistranslation, like there's so much depth that's missed in the translation pieces. And I think that that's really interesting for me. So I'm kind of geeking out on that stuff. And I was reading about, like, I'm starting a Bible in a year. So every day I do a little bit. And I was reading about the original story, the original sin and Adam and Eve and all that. And basically, what I came about was like, God says, you can no longer have everything you want almost instantaneous. Like, you're going to have to work for it. And that's like the message. And what I thought was just a side note that was interesting is the same word that they use the same word in Hebrew for Adam's punishment of work and toil and for Eve's, but it's translated to pain, which I just was like, okay. So we have, but it's the same word that means like to work for what you want. And it's just an interesting idea because we tend to want something so badly, but we're expecting a sign or we're expecting it to just fall in our laps. And that's not the way it is anymore. Like you have to work for it. And
Well,
I
could I
feel
add
like,
to that? Yeah,
yeah, yeah, go
because
for
I'm
it.
reading the Neville Goddard,
Mhm.
which
He's
translates the
amazing.
Bible from a conscious perspective. And
Hmm.
I've also been reading for like 5 years, The Second Coming of Christ by Yogananda. And then there's one also in the Bhagavad. What did you
Uh-huh.
say? But I haven't gotten to that one yet. But Neville Goddard talks about working is working through the levels of consciousness. So rising back up to being free. So it's the same concept of you're talking about is you have this problem, and we just expect it to drop into our lap, but unfortunately we have to work through those components to get to that freedom, which would be the seventh day of rest, right? So you have something. We often are told, get out of your head, get out of your head. But according to what you and I think are talking about, is you have to, something comes in into your mind, something you want to create, then you have to work through it to get to this answer. So the working is the creation in the 6 days, and the seventh day is rest when you come to a solution. So like you said,
Mm.
like it's about it was taken from you. That means your consciousness was stripped from you. We met Adam and Eve, so you're stripped from you, and now we're working back up to remember that we're conscious beings.
Oh, interesting.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting that you're reading that book and restudying, and I'm also doing it. We haven't talked about this,
No,
and
we
we're
haven't.
talking about, but we're doing the same thing from different levels of perspective. So I'm writing a whole book and program of consciousness for the mentorship class that I teach, and I have been teaching for the last 2 years. So it's all around what you're talking about. So I just
Yeah, I
wanted
love
to
it.
throw that in there because I'm like, oh, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah, and that's the way it is. It's very interesting how many intersects there are with it all. The aspect that the journey is the reward and the things that you have to work through is is the transformation of yourself and what aspects of who you are you willing to give up because you can't get what you want being who you are. You have to upgrade yourself, and that means letting go of stuff that you think are like the cornerstone of who you are, judgments or sass or addictions or, all of these things. Like, I'm going to give up, a couple hours of my social time to go to bed early because I want this health result or whatever it is. And I just think it's interesting, like when we've talked in the past about if you got what you wanted instantaneously, like you'd be so unsatisfied and so bored. And the whole process is this sacred journey of like creating grit and believing in yourself and like all of these things. That's like you've got that cheerleader of like God or the universe, that universal oneness, that love that's like, you have the potential, but you can't hear that until you put forth the work and do it yourself. And so it's like it's looked at like a curse, but the whole point of it was to be more like God. Like if you eat from the tree of wisdom, you will be more like God because you will be able to see good and evil. You'll be able to all of these things, right? And
I always say you
yeah,
are God. You're remembering that you are. It's the same concept, right? We're doing the work to understand the power that you have. And I say
mhm,
this work is helping us expand our consciousness, our blueprint,
yeah,
right? If you don't have the grit, you sit in the same spot of your blueprint and you never light the rest up because what's the point?
right.
That's what working comes in. We have to work to something, create, be present. What do we want? What is a lie? What is true? What is discernment? everything you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I've been kind of diving into that stuff a little bit, and then um, really focusing on like what, because I'm re-diving into Christianity a little bit, but I want more. I'm finding more and more of like what did Jesus teach as a teacher versus the split between when after he passed and when the Nazarenes and the Jewish Christians, the beginning versus the Gentile Roman Catholic, that split, and like Paul and all of these things that are very misogynistic and they don't feel right and all that stuff within the religion. Like, let's go back to the original teacher kind of aspect. And he is like, love God and love your neighbor. And so I've been really meditating a lot with this, the heaviness of the world, and looking at, I don't know if I like the term lost souls, but for lack of a better at the moment, that's what I'm going to say. And like thinking of these, people who are doing these horrific things and practicing love towards them, not towards their actions, but towards that spark that's within them.
Yeah.
That is the same, that's the same spark that's inside me that, connects us into that. And if we don't cultivate that, then we can't find that love, that universal conscious love. When you hit it, it's like when you hold your baby for the first time and you're just like overwhelmed with that love. And can I bring that kind of a love into other people? Especially people who are doing harm to others, like children. And that's been a challenge. But when I look at it from Christ consciousness, and I look at the whole story of, why did God become human and come down as Jesus and try to redeem us all? It's like, well, if you had to choose which of your children would you one has to go to hell. Which one would you choose? Take me. I'll go. And like
Yeah.
that's kind of what he did. And so looking at it from that point of view of like, if it was my child who was lost, who was pushing me away, who didn't want anything to do with me, and at one point was at my kitchen table sobbing, crying, saying, I don't know what else to do. I need you. I need love. Like, and they come back and they're just like you embrace them and you hold them in your arms. And like, that's the idea of redemption, and realizing the lostness that you've been in, and refinding that conscious love. And so that's what I've been practicing lately, is those ideas of, if these were my children, can I love them in that level? And it's been a very interesting journey of recognizing my own judgments and trying to push past it.
I kind of look at it this way, like just to continue what you're saying is I see that we're all God because we're from God. That's my perspective, or consciousness, or the cosmos, how you want to say it. We have this Christ consciousness or this consciousness about us, right?
Ability.
And
Yeah.
if we can remember that we're all gods, and if we can remind each other of the sparks that we've forgotten, we can build each other up. But we are in the battle of dark, meaning there are dark things that want us to not remember who we are, right? So then you can pause when you look at um, a human who's going through a human experience and take a step back and go, okay, they're going through this human experience. Let me hold space for them and be a light, and hopefully they grab onto it soon and remember who they are. I feel like there should be one commandment, and that should be thou shalt not be evil, in the sense of to stop someone or yourself from progressing and going against anyone's free will. And we understand with children or vulnerable adults or that they don't have free will because their consciousness, their developmental stages aren't quite aware yet, right? And if we look at situations and go, okay, this person is still growing, I feel like I'm supposed to insert myself because I have knowledge or information that can spark something within them, then we do it. And then they either grab it or they don't, but we don't give up because we're here in this really dense place come back from Adam and Eve of remembering that we're conscious. We're all trying to figure that out. I don't know a single person who's not trying to figure that out. So to have compassion and going, oh, that person messed up because they don't know yet. They haven't learned yet. They're still trying to figure it out. They're trying to find that spark. Can I help them? Yes, I can. No, I can't. It is, I mean, it's really more complicated than that. But if we can just remember what you just said is, I say we're all our star, and we're here to remind each other that we are. And sometimes you, Dr. Kami, will say something to me that sparks a remembrance in me because you're being yourself.
Mhm.
And I hope when I walk into a room that my light hits someone just right for them to remember who they are. And I mean, how different would it be when someone walks in your room and you're like, what are they trying to teach me here? Are they trying to teach me boundaries? Are they trying to remind me of self-love? Are they trying to remind me that I forgot about this about myself, that I'm lying to myself? Like, there's so many things that we're supposed to help each other through this experience to get back to who we are.
Yeah, I love that. I like my philosophy with life um is to try to find peace. And the more I can settle into peace within myself, the more I can feel safe as my authentic self to trust that what comes out of my mouth is what the person in front of me needs to hear. Because I don't walk in a room going, okay, like I've done this where I'll be like, oh, this patient's coming. Oh, I've got the best thing I want to tell them about this and this and this. And then they no show or
Mhm.
they cancel. And I'm like, and then I just go, oh, they're not ready to hear that. But if I walk into a room and I go, Om Namo Guru De Namo, I trust the guru within. I pray, like I pray before I walk in a room. I pray while I'm doing what I do because that's just my method. And I trust that what they need to hear comes out. And it's usually just a sentence. It's just a line. It's just a comment. And they leave feeling peaceful. And if you think about like ancient teachers or just teachers in general, like you think of like Sadhguru or Yogananda or Jesus, in chaos, they're calm. It's someone who has a serenity about them. And you may not even remember who they are, but if like imagine that there's chaos around you, like there's war all around you, and someone walks in and reaches out their hand and picks you up and leads you to a safe space, and then they go. It's like, do you remember their face or do you remember their presence? And so I think that we're all searching for peace. And so when I and love. So if I was to pick one commandment, it would be the love your neighbors. Like you have to learn how to love yourself though too. And I think that's a huge piece is there's so much self-work to do. Like as much as I've done, I know it's never ending and I know how much I have. And so instead of I try not to focus outward as much as I try to focus inward because the more peace and serenity I can and wisdom that I can cultivate, it comes out through that heart magnet energy for whoever is in front of me is meant to be in front of me. And then
Yeah.
I can give the message versus if I start thinking too much outside of myself, I get overwhelmed and I get tense and I get bogged down. And that's where that heavy energy is we're looking at the whole world now. We have access to the whole world. And it's so much. There's so much going on. And it's out, even the stuff going on in our own country feels outside of our control. Like,
Mhm.
we can demand stuff, we can protest, it doesn't seem to do much. But so I feel like I hit walls when I go outside of myself. But if I go within myself and I focus on who's in front of me, because that piece will transfer. And then that person leaves me with hope. And
Yeah.
then they go and they bring that piece to someone else. And I imagine that it's spreading like wildfire out
Yeah.
there.
So the my daily practices, I always start with me. Because I
Mhm.
believe if you read my book, Love Thyself, I believe the number one commandment is to love thyself. And I'm writing a book right now about 37 different love vibrations, and it'll be coming out hopefully in June. And it kind of dives deep into the different, there's not just one love consciousness, there's multiple, right?
Mhm.
But with every light, there is dark, especially in the world we're in. So there's an opposite, right? In the physical world, opposites attract. In the spiritual world, like attract like, right? But I start my day out every morning with myself, how I'm envisioning showing up for me. How do I love myself? My body being healthy, my relationships being healthy. Where do I want to go? How do I want to serve humanity from my perspective? And then I commune with my guides and is there something I'm missing to show up for humanity? And how do I balance the self with serving others, right? And then I move into teaching. So, like today, I have a class called the Intuitive Mentorship class, and I teach people how to step into living consciously and how to have guides and how to live in the world. And what we do when we start the class, we actually start it with a group meditation for the world, where we're sending light and love and compassion to the world. And I know some people they'll say, "Oh, sending love and light, blah blah blah." But here's the thing: is even research from Stanford University, I believe, has shown on the blueprint the energetic grid around the world, as in when people come together, that grid in magnetic grid, I can talk, brightens. And then when we go back to isolating, it dims, right? There's scientific research that shows that. So my class, I every weekend, every Saturday, I have a class, and we started out with meditating first, receiving love to ourselves from, the great central sun or the creator consciousness of love. And then after we receive, then we imagine filtering it through us to earth into places that are heavy and dark. And do I believe that it's really doing something? 100% I do, right? Because we've all know, especially people who've been through trauma or experiences, what they can feel over time and time again. They will report, I felt the prayers, I felt the love, I felt something within me. So we can do that because we know that we can't go to Iran, we can't go to these other places. We're not there physically. So we can do that though, and we can then go to the one-on-ones like you're talking about, is whoever's in front of me, if they look at me and they see me, what do they need to hear from me, or what do I need to receive from them? And there's that filtering from showing up to yourself, how do I serve, showing up for other people, showing back up for humanity, going back and ending your day. I always end my day again with serving myself, envisioning where I want to be the next day, and then integrating how to serve humanity again, and then doing the work, right? Because you know, um, like you said, like certain things you might feel like it's not doing much, but I always feel like there's someone listening. But if you have to do it with light, you have to do it with the high, you don't have to do anything, but I recommend you do it with the light or higher vibration so that we raise the vibration of Earth. And what science shows, and you're more of a science mind than I am, because of all your, the degrees you have within that realm, is we know that there is some energy that exists, right? That you might not be able to touch it, but you can feel it and you know it. Just like if you walk into a room with someone who's angry, you can automatically, they don't have to say anything. Sure, you can read their body language because people are like, oh, you read their body language. There are a lot of people who are good at masking. You can walk in and they're like, hi, how are you? And you're like, ooh, I feel anger here. Right? Because we can feel it in the field, the energetic field, what someone might be going through. Sadness, depression. I get that a lot of times we ignore that, but we feel it. And so to be present, like you said, and to do the work, like you said, is that pause, that self-reflection, and being that calm, like you said, in the chaos, so that you know where to go and what to do next. I just wanted to do a roundabout thing, bring it
Yeah,
back.
no, I agree. I think my daily stuff is is the is because my interests, my curiosities create passion. Passion
Mhm.
creates purpose. Stephen Kotler's book, The Art of Impossible. If you're not sure what your purpose is, he talks you through the neuroscience of how to develop purpose through what are your curiosities? These are how you put, and then how does that create
Beautiful.
passion? So
Make
my
sure you put that on our description, the book.
yeah, so my curiosities and passion is spirituality and psychology and how it changes your reality. right? And so my mind has already been trained to focus in on on God all pretty much all the time. I drift and then I go, oh, where am I? Oh, or, and I pray and but there's then the fourth way is the other passion project of mine because it's the sly way, and it's the sly man's way to enlightenment, which I love. Give me the easiest way. It's not easy at all, but it's like I don't want to, so anyway, so the
Put that
through
book on
that,
YouTube.
so the it's really heavy stuff, but the way through there, they talk all the time about the three phases. It's not duality. There's a third phase, and when you understand that, you're always in flow.
Mhm.
And so the three questions that you ask or that I ask myself every day are based off of which areas of flow do you want to be in for the day, and then you feel like you've done something for your goals. Because a lot of times we're like, well, I want this, and I don't know how to get there. Um, and so it's what do you want to do? What do you want? Like, what's the desire piece? What do you want to do today? And it's really honing into, I just want to sit in the sun today. I just want to get a coffee that like this, or, whatever it is. I just want to talk to this one person, and then it's what do you want to get done? Because our to-do lists are endless. And so what's the one thing? Like just give yourself one thing. And if it's accomplished, woo, you feel like allow yourself to feel good about that. And then how can God bless you today? How does God bless me today? And that can look like anything from um, showing me what the next step is, or giving me the push to actually do the step. Because every day, if you're asking for patience, like you already have it.
Right. Right.
Do
Yeah.
something else. Like it's an opportunity to connect as far as like, give me a download, give me something to see, give me something to work with. Um, Let me recognize my children laughing. And what's my face doing? Mm,
Yeah.
oh, let me enjoy it. And so those are the three phases of, you know, input, output, and neutral. Those are and when you're always in those three, we tend to think it's output, output, output. If I'm not doing anything all the time, well, maybe you're not supposed to. Maybe you're supposed to reflect. Maybe you're supposed to take in information and do research or whatever it is. And so those are the three I always try to ask myself every morning. And I still really struggle with the desire one, even though I don't know. I love my life. Thank you. Like it's like, yeah, you can love it and you can still want more. It's okay.
Yeah.
Um, and then throughout the day, it's always like just grounding myself and being present and that good within. And then peace. Okay. Especially like in transitions, because I shuttle into work and I shuttle back out. And so okay, letting go of the day and being present. I'm going to come home peaceful and joyful, and I'm going to enjoy my family. And like where am I? What's the next phase? What do I want the next few hours to look like? Okay, I'm transitioning. What do I want the next few hours to look like? Um, so that's kind of how I do it. Yeah.
So to bring this full circle, we covered a lot of different things during this discussion, but yet it's all connected, right? We talked about studying the Bible from a different perspective of, it sounds like we're both studying the Bible in a sense of, I like to say Eastern philosophy, meaning things in metaphors versus literal. And what does it mean to get back to the foundation of consciousness, right? And what we're both talking about is how to get up in the morning and to choose your day consciously. To ask yourself whether it's Dr. Kami's three questions or imagining how you want your day to go and then asking what to do to get to that. Or self care is choosing what you want to do next in the now.
Yeah,
Because
be
that's
be an
going to
active
be
participant in your life.
being an active participant in your life. So I would like to ask you, Dr. Kami, for the audience to cover those three questions one more time that one should ask themselves or can, if they so choose, ask themselves in the morning before they start their day or the next 2 hours.
Yep. What do you want to do? What do you want to get done? And how can God bless you? Or how
Okay.
can God show you? love, blessings, peace, whatever. Yeah.
Beautiful. And then I would add to that is when you ask those questions before you go to sleep at night, like Neville Goddard says, that you imagine how you want your next day to go. So that in the morning, when you ask the three questions, they're more clear than the night before.
Hmm. I like that.
So, uh, I thank you guys for joining Dr. Cami and I on our Raw Talks podcast. I enjoy doing them. They are super fun, and we never know where they're going to go, but we do know that we enjoy it. I know I enjoy doing it. So I thank you guys for all joining us. And I think you and I talked about if you have questions, go ahead and ask them. And then if you want us to talk about something,